This is the Fearless Launching Show. I'm your host, Anne Samoylov, and this week we have a special, fairly short episode, and we're going to be covering 5 of my top launch workflow hacks. These are things that can make your life a whole lot easier as you're preparing for your launch, when you're in the midst of a launch, and how to get started on those right away. So if that sounds interesting to you, keep listening. The Fearless Launching Show was created to answer the question, how can I launch my big idea to the world in the most simple, straightforward way possible and reach more of the right people? I'm your host, Anne Samoylov, and I've been helping 6- and 7-figure business owners launch for over a decade. And while I love geeking out about improving launches, new launch strategies, what's working, what's not working, I'm also obsessed with exploring the heart, the mind, the challenges of running your own business. And that's what we're going to do each and every week. I want to show you how to launch that course or coaching program or other creative work and navigate the journey of being an online entrepreneur. So if you're ready for some new perspectives, some new stories around launching, well, I can't wait to share those with you. Let's get into today's episode. 5 launch workflow hacks that I use to just get through it every single time. And this doesn't matter what kind of launch you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're planning on setting something up that's more automated, you've got something that's hybrid, you've got something where you launch live every quarter, every month, whatever that choice is, that is yours and yours alone. However, no matter what we're doing, we can make things a lot easier. So I think the main thing about launches is that we all know there's usually a long to-do list. Team or no team, we have all got our list of stuff that has to be done, things that have to be created, things that have to be figured out and decided upon in terms of when you're launching, how you're launching, what you're launching, what's in the offer, what are the bonuses. There are literally so many details in every single aspect of putting your launch together. So if you can find not small, but like impactful, powerful ways to then do things a little bit more easily, launch smarter, not harder. That's a play on that phrase that everybody talks about in productivity, but I'm always looking for ways to trick myself into doing more work without it feeling like more work, or making things a game for myself, or, making things like a quest, like, okay, I'm going to finish. If I finish this now, then I'll go do this. So I give myself rewards, everything. I am a creature of habit, and I also like to procrastinate, and I also love to get things done. So with someone like that, I've over the years found some different things that can really help you, whether you're launching something online, you're a startup, and so you might have something in the real world, like a group of people together, getting like a piece of software developed or whatever. This is really for all of you, for everyone. So when it comes to launching, which is essentially a marketing campaign, the very first thing that I do, and this, just think of what you're doing as, this is a campaign that I'm about to pull off, whether it's the first time, the second time, the third time, the last time, you still have things that you can do to make this easier on yourself. So number 1 of my top 5 launch workflow hacks, it helps you work through your launches faster, easier, less overwhelmed, all good. First, build an inventory or library of all the things you use, and look here always before making anything. If you are creating something for the first time, well, guess what? Start your library now. Keep track of, not just don't hold just like Google Docs full of emails. Make sure you also have like a key for that in, let's say, Google Sheets, where it says when it was sent, who it was sent to, what was the open rate. Eventually, you're going to need to know the data for these emails as well. But I do think you can have both side by side. So that library, kind of building the library of all the things, this is something that I talk about a lot inside Fearless Launching, inside the incubator. Heck, I'll also talk about it in other programs and other ways that I work with people. But this is a big hack because it reduces the work right out of the gate. So you can like go, okay, here's my launch to-do list. Let me find my emails. And you might cut each area down by a significant amount. So don't delay in doing that. And also, if you have, include blog posts, include guest posts, content that you've put out there in different places is really an easy one to reuse, repurpose during your launches. Heck, even your social media. So number 2 on this workflow hack is create your launch schedule using public facing events, the public facing events that you want to do during your launch. Are you doing a contest? What are all the things that people might see in relation to this? Are they going to see a post on Instagram? Are they going to get an email? Is there a landing page? What are the dates for it? So there's a lot of things you can figure out just by simply saying, what's going to happen during the launch, right? Okay. Number 3, define what your offer is and what you're promising to your customers. Okay. So you might be saying, well, Anne, no duh. Of course, I need to know what I'm launching, right? But what I want you to do is take it a step further and make kind of like a one sheet, one Google Doc that has all the details in it, that has like, what is this offer? What's included in the offer specifically? How long does the offer, how long does it take someone to go through the thing? Who is it for specifically? Like, be really specific. This doesn't need to be in marketing language necessarily. I just want you to have a very clear kind of document that tells you what the thing is you're launching. Now, this says that you know your audience and that you have a clear offer that's defined just for them. If you don't have that yet, and that's okay if you don't, reach out to me, let me know so I can point you in some directions to kind of get you down that path a little bit faster. There's a lot of more specific resources. So I don't want you freaking out about your launch before you actually have this figured out, okay? And the great thing about this document is that it serves as the bones for your sales page, for all the emails you're going to write, for all the social media you're going to post, for all the webinars and interactive events that you might create, or the videos that you might do. Everything comes back to this document, okay? So if you start here, your next step would be your sales page, for instance. And then after that's done, then you start writing your emails, and guess what? Things come out of your sales page. Things, like ideas come out of your sales page. So for those of you who are always worried, and I'm always worried about this too, and I'm always thinking, did people visit the page? What is the traffic like to the sales page? If the traffic isn't there, get the sales page to the people. Put it on social. Put the content from it in your emails. Look for different ways to get chunks of it and to get people to see the important parts of the offer, of the page that you want to get them to. But that all starts by defining the offer, what you're promising to your customers, and what they're going to get on the other side of it. Okay, hack number 4 is I want you to wireframe out you can wireframe out everything in your launch. But I always like to tell people to wireframe out their sales process. What that means is I want you to just create a shell, kind of like just a shell. You don't have to have a completed sales page yet. You're just gonna have a blank page with a button that goes to your checkout page, which is completely set up, which then triggers an email to get sent to people or who purchase, or perhaps it gets people in a sequence in your email service provider. So think about what that process is. Or do they get sent to a thank you page after they purchase? Do they get prompted to set up a password or a login or something like that? Or do they get sent to a first training? That's a really great thing that one of my past guests on the podcast shared with me. And I immediately implemented that, where when you join Fearless Launching, the first thing you get sent to is kind of like this goal setting. Like, what do you want to, like, almost like vision casting for yourself before you dive into the actual program. So I think it's great because you give people that quick win of, okay, this is what I want to get out of this. And you can use that too in related to whatever it is you're offering. There's always that moment where we're like, okay, before I start this, what am I going to get out of it? So really wireframe out that sales process from sales page, click the button, Then what happens? Then what happens? And then what happens? And you can start this process by just simply writing everything out on Google Docs. Okay. Don't try to make the landing page and fill it in as you're designing. Try to like start there, right? Try to start with this information in a Google Doc first, and then you can kind of map out what happens. Another great tool to really even further back, forget about writing anything, is to take Miro, Miro.com, and just go, okay, so first they land on the sales page, then they click the button and they go to the checkout page. Then let's say they choose the full pay option. Then that payment processes, it goes to Stripe, which then comes to me. Like you can get that detailed about the process for yourself. But this really just saves time, and also some of the weirdest things can happen during your launch. So this is an important piece of it. If you're launching, you want people to enroll to buy. So setting it up first, making sure that that kind of tech is working, that your website is then speaking to your payment processor, which then adds people to your email service provider, which leads them to get an email saying, hey, your purchase is correct. So, or is final, is complete. All right. So the fifth one is kind of like hack number 2, where we talked about creating launch schedule with public facing events. You're going to take that now. And now I want you to step further back and just say, when am I going to start talking about my launch, right? This is really going to be adding details into this launch schedule by defining now you know what they're going to see during the launch, but you're going to look at what are they going to read from you? What are you going to say from the very beginning? What and where will you start telling someone something is coming soon? Is it a PS and an email? I literally have like communication plans that start with PS and email, something coming soon. You may not know where it's going to be first, but maybe it's just like coming soon, PS or social media post. That's going to be up to you where you put that. Maybe what will each of the pieces of communication call to action be? So again, if you start with that PS, maybe it just sends them to a waitlist page. If it's down further where it's like, hey, we're about to open the doors to this in a couple of days, and we're going to have a live webinar. Maybe it's sign up for the webinar. Just be really clear where you're sending people. This helps you make sure you're not sending too many or too few emails, or that you're saying buy now when you really should be saying, hey, come to my webinar. It really helps you find options for sending things to your entire list. That's another thing to make sure you do is who gets it? Like, is your PS in your email to your entire list? Is your webinar invite to your entire list? Is, hey, we opened to your VIP or your waitlist first? And is maybe that one of those closing day emails just people who've been clicking throughout the launch? That allows you to kind of go through then and see that. And plus you can see if you're sending too many emails, too few emails, but try to kind of mentally go through everything that's going to happen during the launch and what you'd like to say during the launch. And you don't have to have your formats defined just yet. You don't have to say it's an email, it's a social post, but if you know that, put it, that's fine. And finally, the bonus hack today is to work in sprints through all of these types of things, and through the harder stuff in your launch. For me, it's usually the emails, the social media posts, anything I've got to communicate. I always like to really think through, well, this person got this. And okay, so that email is going to go to the whole list, but this is just going to go to those webinar registrants. I like to think everything through. So we are doing a sprint. And if you want to join me, which it starts next Monday, May 16th, we go for 2 weeks. We'll be jumping on Zoom 3 times a week, I think, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And you're going to jump into my Message Lab program, which you'll have access to, forever. And for as long as the program exists online. And in that case, we're going to sit down and we're going to map out all of these things. We're going to do hack number 5. and probably hack number two. We'll handle those two. And then you might even be able to get some of your writing done or your creating done during this time and get some feedback. So I would love it if you would join me. The doors are only open for a couple more days until Thursday night they close. And all you have to do is go to AnnSamoilov.com/TML-info. So it's like the message lab, TML-info. I will put the link in the profile so you can just go straight to my name and then go there and click on that and just check it out. There is a workshop replay that if you want to watch that, you can. It'll walk you through the 4 phases of your launch that you're going to need to create communication for. And then you'll get a better idea of what the program, the Message Lab, is all about. But if you want to join me for this sprint, which I would love, and if you want to just kind of knock out, carve out that focus time, knock out all of that communication, and at least come away with a really simple communication plan, then great. This really cuts down on, if you can get this stuff done way before your launch or before your launch, you are golden, because during your launch, you want to be free to look for solutions to other things that come up, or be in a more creative space. You don't want to have to worry about, what am I going to send today? What am I going to send tomorrow? Did I say this yet? Oh, wow, it's been 3 days since I sent an email. Is it okay I don't email over the weekend? Those are the questions you need to ask before your launch, not during it. So do yourself a favor and reduce that stress, reduce the overwhelm, and have a launch that actually kind of makes sense to you. I would love it if you would join me, and just head to the profile link to check out more info about this. But we do get started on Monday, and the doors close Thursday night, the 12th. All right. So have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. As always, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Next week, we've got another episode headed our way, but this one really hits home, I think, for me personally, and I know many of you, and that is, what's the big fight between live launches and evergreen launches? And can't we all just get along? There is no one way to launch, but we're going to talk about these 2 different approaches and perhaps help you figure out what's right for your business, right for your audience. All right. And in the meantime, if you haven't already gone over to the Message Lab, check it out. If you want to be participating in our 2-week sprint, this is a bonus that's been added to the program, and that starts next week. So if you want to join me, hang out for 2 weeks, get your launch communication created, done, all that, then make sure to go to the show notes and click on that link and head over there before tomorrow at 5 p.m. Thursday, May 12th, 5 p.m., doors close. All right. In the meantime, have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you later.